Just give me a
Just
book.
sit there. Oh, hello there. Hello.
I'll have a fireplace, a virtual
Okay.
fireplace.
You just take
behind
your
me.
glasses off. Now I'm here to tell you a story today.
Let me talk to you, good little boys and girls, about Christmas.
About Rudimentary. You ever heard of Caitlin Clark?
You will.
Well,
Hello and welcome back to Rudimentary, the podcast where we take the basic things and we make them difficult to understand. It's been a while, so I'll say happy holidays. I know you've missed us, but we kind of threw a curveball on the intro that says Funkle on there. However, if you look at our screen, there's no Funkle.
there's a bogan.
Yep. There is a bogan.
Stunt Funkle.
Stunt Funkle. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Oh, Lord. Speaking of Justin, first off, thank you for filling in for Funkle. Thanks for being here. How you doing?
Doing well, man. I love being on the pod. It's always fun to kind of join and chat with you guys. I'm always talking to Funkle, so it's nice to have a little different group to chat with.
Yeah. No, welcome.
I could see how talking to Funkle can be monotonous at times and a lot of unknown movie references.
All the time. All the time.
Maybe,
and I just do one of these things. But you might be seeing a lot in this podcast too, so we'll just see what happens. I'll just give you a little, yeah.
He just clued you in, folks. So if you see the nod over there, it's all 100% believable. But Funkle, we missed you. We hope to have you back on soon and get back in the swing of things. We've got a lot planned for this episode. Andy, welcome, and how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's kind of a weird week coming up here. I don't know what your guys' work schedule is, but I've got the 23rd, which is tomorrow, off. Or no, I'm there.
Right.
And then I got 2 days off, and then I'm back for 2 days.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
And then the weekend, and then 2 days in, 1 day off, and then 2 days at the end of the week.
Ugh.
And we got a lot going on, so it's not conducive to a good work environment.
I always miss like school time where you had the 2 weeks off, and that was it. You're just like, I'm going 2 weeks off, baby. I don't got to do anything. And now it's like, how am I supposed to balance my sleep schedule?
Yeah, no, dude, I hear you, man. I usually around this time of year, I'll take whatever days aren't off days, and take those days off around Christmas time. But I just got back from a 2-week vacation, so I can't do that.
Right.
So it's like now I'm paying the piper.
Well, that's how. So Taylor today, same thing. She's like, "Hey, so what are your days off this week?" And I'm like, "Well, I can work a half day Tuesday, and then Wednesday's Christmas, and I'm off." And she's like, "Okay, well, I took the whole week off." I'm like, "Well, what is that? You're telling me all year you don't have vacation time, and now you're taking a whole vacation? All right, you're watching the kid."
Yeah.
There's no
it's
vacation.
An easy way to get a week. It's an easy way to get a week when you got 2 days off, to kind of go with. But man, I don't know. It's like, it's going to be brutal.
I went, I was on about a week vacation, Andy. I was with you and with the family. And then luckily, one of my coworkers told me to pay attention to the employee handbook. And I realized as the year was coming to an end, I had about 4 days that I had to use before the end of the year. So I took the 24th off, the 26th, the 27th, and a day next week. So
nice.
Yep. I've been playing racquetball, 5 out of the last 6 days. I have
racquetball or pickleball.
Pickleball, not racquetball. Pickleball.
Yep.
Oh,
Not the same.
different,
Dude,
different clientele.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Yep. I took a dive tonight. My first dive on the pickleball court. That doesn't feel good.
Oh.
And make it worse, we lost the point on that one. So
Oh.
it was literally for nothing.
I can tell you who's not athlete of the year. This guy right here. This guy.
Is correct.
We have got a lot to discuss. One of them being, why am I not athlete of the year? I'm 45 and I'm out there hitting the court, baby. Speaking of hitting the court, we've got Andy over there who was frantically adjusting his layout before the show started. And as much as it pains me that Funkel isn't here, Justin, I'm so happy you're here. Funkel, if you're going to be watching, bud, this one's for you. We've got Caitlin making noise. That's right.
All kinds of noise.
I don't even want to, you know what? I don't even want to intro this. I want to let the huge fan just kind of open up this topic. Andy, please.
Do you want me to call him? I can call the huge fan real quick and get him on here, see what he says. Oh, it's not Funkel? Oh,
it is. That's why he didn't. He knew if he was on this episode, he'd just be talking the whole time.
Exactly.
No one.
Exactly.
Andy, please introduce this topic and what it's about.
Well, this topic is about Time Magazine's 2024 Athlete of the Year. And for some of you who've been under a rock and haven't heard the name Caitlin Clark, that is your 2024 Athlete of the Year, according to Time Magazine. So I have congratulations to Cece and congratulations to me, honestly, because I have been loving the internet and social media. I am in a couple groups on Facebook, and I'm pretty active on X. And I'm the hater. I'm hating the haters.
Oh,
so I'm like, it's so easy. It's so easy these days to go ahead and just get under people's skin. Like, for instance, today, not Caitlin Clark related, but another one I usually get into is Jordan versus LeBron debate
King
on
James.
these pages. And got this one guy in one of the groups who just he trolls constantly with all the LeBron stuff. So every post he's been making the last couple days, I post a legitimate picture of LeBron and P. Diddy with LeBron's actual quote, confirmed quote, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party."
Oh no!
Oh boy!
And so everyone that guy posts, I post that picture.
You have
it's
to, right?
it is because I've never been to one, but apparently there ain't no party like a Diddy party, according to LeBron. So, but I digress. Caitlin Clark, Athlete of the Year. You can't argue it. A lot of these morons think that means that she is the she didn't win a championship and this and that. They don't understand what it is. I mean, nobody moved the scale in the sports world like she did this past year. I mean, all over the place. The gravitational pull of fans to her is something that sports hasn't seen in a while, probably since the likes of maybe Tiger Woods, when he came along and brought all these young eyes to golf. I would say would be the last time. But yeah, I mean, I had no interest in the WNBA aside from knowing what it was before she came along, and I've been to more WNBA games than I have NBA games. So, in 1 year, so
that's just it. Like, nobody from any of my years on social media or even just the limited sports interactions that I watch, nobody ever talked about the WNBA. For the longest time, I forgot that it was a thing until this past year. So, I mean, people can say what they want about Caitlin Clark and how annoying it is to see it, but she's drawing attention and they're pulling in numbers, and that's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
And she's good. So it's not even just like she's bringing people in. She's actually very talented.
Yeah, living up to the hype. Yeah, that's the other part of it, right?
Yeah.
And I saw that when you sent it out. I saw it beforehand that she was named. I saw it on ads actually, but not knowing their criteria, I guess, with it. I was thinking, and Andy, you brought up a good one. You and Funkel had been going back and forth on Shohei and baseball, and then Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, and I don't know the criteria. Obviously, baseball is firmly ingrained in Americana and things like that. So I don't think you're going to move the needle nearly as much as Caitlin Clark did for her sport. Even though Shohei, continued to just do amazing things and, bring more international fans to the game or back to the game, things like that. But Japan's had stars already that have been playing in the U.S. for quite some time now. I was trying to think, and I'll throw this one out to you guys. Shohei aside, I was trying to think if you guys had anybody else that you would throw up there. And the one that came to mind for me would have been Simone Biles, on her retirement tour. I believe the most decorated gymnast, in the history of the Olympics, female gymnast in the history of the Olympics. Everybody, I watched it. I watched her routines when I knew she was going to be on. It was something where it was posted, her competing. Obviously, she's on a team, the women's gymnastics team. But when she was going for the all-around medals, when she was going for individuals floor, that was another one that I could think of. And like I said, I didn't read Time's criteria or if anybody else, made the cut or who it was and things like that. Andy, anybody else? Like I said, you had mentioned in our group chat, you had mentioned Shohei. Obviously, Funkel's a big Shohei fan, but even he admitted, that it was Caitlin. But anybody else?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, the Simone Biles is a solid choice there. Ironically or non-ironically, I saw Simone Biles at a Fever game this year.
Yes.
So,
yep.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt. I think the entire thing though is not just solely based on athletic ability, or else that would be really easy to do that. I think I read the piece on Caitlin that was done. It was a really good write-up, good article. And I think it's pulling from, just an overall impact. I think the thing that hurts, somebody like Simone Biles is, people forget who you are after the Olympics, right? You don't hear anything until 4 years. So, I mean, take for instance, how many people mention Michael Phelps anymore until the Olympics rolls around?
Well,
that guy dominated.
Drug allegations. Then all of a sudden he gets brought up, but nothing
yeah,
else.
You know what I mean? So I'm not discounting any of that. And gymnastics. Who watches gymnastics amongst casual people aside from during the Olympics? Hardcore gymnastics fans know the nationals and all that kind of stuff. Which hell, I can't. I'd hurt myself trying to do a rolling somersault or something. So I'm not questioning the talent. It's just the audience, right? It's not a sport that lends itself to be able to like have a season or like amongst other people, it's not the same type of sport as a team sport.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where people go to the the home games, the away games, or what I mean. It's more of a niche thing that really flourishes during the Olympics.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I like what you said about nobody keeps tabs or anything on that until 4 years later. Now, Bogan, you and sports go hand in hand.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah. Yep. So anybody that you've heard of or that you could think of, that you would say athlete of the year.
The only sport that I follow a little bit more religiously than all the other many sports that I follow would be hockey. So I'm a big fan of hockey. So this year in particular, now it's still kind of early. The season just kind of started, so it's hard. But I think a huge athlete that obviously didn't get it this year, I'm putting money on that they're going to be mentioned next year, is Macklin Celebrini. You guys familiar with that name?
Bless you.
Nope, but I will look. I will look it up right now.
Macklin Celebrini. So he's currently playing for the San Jose Sharks. He was the first draft pick of the NHL season this year. Kid is 18, right? So the first game, injured himself. He's out for 12 games. He comes back, and listen to these accolades. Listen to this guy. This guy's insane, right? So didn't miss a beat after returning. He was named NHL Rookie of the Month for November after leading first-year players in goals. He had 7 goals, 12 points, and 45 shots on goal. And then NHL First Star of the Week, ending in December 1st. This guy was on Hockey East All-Rookie Team of 2024, the East First All-Star Team of 2024, Hockey East Player of the Year 2024, NCAA East First All-American Team 2024, and the Hobie Baker Memorial Award Top U.S. Collegiate Player 2024. This guy missed 12 games out of the 28 that's been played so far, and this dude is rocking it. He is insane.
Man. Well, I will tell you that when I did look up this gentleman, the first Macklin that did come up in Google is Macklin Celebrini. So
look at that.
He's already making waves.
I mean, people like last year, the San Jose Sharks had a horrible season. They were the laughing stock of the season. It's a rebuild this year, and people that have been hating on the Sharks are constantly like commenting, like, "Wow, this Celebrini guy he's carrying the team. This guy's crazy. This is going to be a huge player." And I'm really excited to see if he's got 12 games in already. Like what this guy's going to be doing next year and the rest of the season is going to be remarkable. This kid can play.
Is it bringing you to watch games?
So I've been watching. So my aunt Sherilyn, which you guys know, she's the one that got me watching the Sharks. So we were always Vegas fans, or we followed our local ECHL team, the Comets. We would follow their whatever team that we're feeding into. And so we started watching the Sharks with her. And I caught a couple games last year, nothing pretty religiously. But this year, I'm constantly like, I don't miss a game. And if I can't watch it because of blackout, I'm listening to it or I'm looking up live stats. It's bringing me to watch.
It's a great feeling, right?
It's fantastic. It's incredible to actually have a reason. Yes.
I have not had that in so many years, probably since Jordan retired, to where I'm like, okay, I can't do anything tonight because I got to watch the Fever. And it sounds like you're having a similar experience.
I got yelled at our company Christmas party because I took over the TV and was watching the Sharks game. And they're like, you realize there's football on right now? And I'm like, yeah, but, Macklin's playing. So we're going to watch Celebrini and the Sharks. Granted, we lost, but I still had to watch the game. So
yeah.
Yeah.
When can we expect the jersey?
Oh, well.
To make its appearance?
Soon. I've got a couple jerseys, but that one will be coming soon.
All right.
It's happening. And a hat. I'll get the hat too. I'll be the Caitlin Clark or the Celebrini of Rudimentary for you.
You look at, you mentioned hockey and the big chase that's going on is Ovechkin, obviously not scoring a ton like he used to,
Well, he's injured currently, so that's why he's not doing anything now.
And he's only less than, what is it? Here it is, 26 goals away from Wayne Gretzky.
Insane.
It's crazy. Obviously, Wayne did a few things more on the ice than just score goals. It says his 1,963 assists.
Well, I mean, obviously that. I mean, that brings to mind my favorite Michael Scott quote. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky. Exactly.
Michael Scott. But yes, that's something that I've got a few friends that are huge hockey fans that are, that's all they were talking about as the season started.
Yeah.
But obviously, like you said, he's injured. When does it happen? It's getting to the point of not if, but when. Which is crazy. I remember watching Ripken, Cal Ripken Jr. break the Ironman streak. So, it's those things. I remember watching Mark McGuire break Roger Maris's home run record.
Yeah.
So I imagine this will, as it gets closer, you'll start seeing games, being broadcast more and more, or you would think games being cut into, or shows being cut into to bring up, Ovechkin playing. But yeah, I think all the records that I've seen broken on TV, Maris comes to mind, Cal Ripken breaking the Ironman streak. It's and then Barry Bonds breaking records. And it's just something cool that you can tell your kids about. Like, I remember I have a picture of me and my daughter Mackenzie watching Derek Jeter get his 3,000th hit, you know?
Yeah.
Which was
I was
amazing.
Yes, I was
a
at my
home
dad's
run.
house. Yep.
Yep, I was there.
Yes.
Yep, a home run for his 3,000th hit.
Oh, you were there? Were you at the game?
No,
We were at my dad's.
We were watching.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh my God.
No, that would have been great.
Yeah.
And just being with Dad, who, you know, was a lifelong Yankees fan.
That's so cool.
You know, it just one of those memories.
A little bit of trivia about that. You know what the trivia is? The question I'm going to ask? Or maybe not even a question. Derek Jeter is the only Yankee to have 3,000 hits.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That is crazy.
Of all the stars, of all.
Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio. I mean, the list goes on and on. Yeah, I mean, only one to have 3,000 hits.
Anybody close? Or is it like a landslide kind of a thing?
I would imagine Ruth probably got close.
Interesting.
I'm going to look it up. You guys go on.
Yeah. Back to your question, Trav. I think this will be the year for Ovechkin. I mean, he's injured, but they're saying that he might be back after the holiday run. So they're thinking December 28th against the Maple Leafs is potentially his first game back. So if he's back that soon. Oh, that's a good question. I'll have to look and see. He's getting up there, man.
Yeah, and that's why it has to be this year, next year. You know, it's, you know, the time always wins, as the saying goes. Yeah. Time always wins. Andy, in relation to your question, if you hadn't found the answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lou Gehrig, 2,721 was in 7th place. And had he not been sick, easily
got there.
Passed. No telling where he would have ended up in Yankee lore, you know.
Ovechkin is 39.
Jeez.
39
You know what? You know what's crazy to me about hockey? I mean, you got guys that play into their 40s.
Yeah.
You know, like Ovechkin. Or, you know,
Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah.
And they're still taking long playtime too. Like they're not breaking after, you know.
That's a huge physical sport.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Especially when 19, 18-year-olds, they get 2 minutes on the ice and they've got to sit down for a while. You got guys like Ovechkin, 39 years old, that are putting up numbers and still skating. It's like, man.
Yep.
No thanks.
The old stat, if you took away Wayne Gretzky's all his goals, he'd still be the NHL's all-time scoring leader. It's just stupid. It's moving on. We're a podcast that talks about many things, sports and entertainment. We're going to bring the entertainment aspect. Now it's the season for sequels. There are, as we speak, a couple big sequels coming out, some family sequels. We've got Mufasa.
Say it again.
Mufasa.
Well done.
Thank you.
Sonic 3. Again, just a fun family movie. I've seen the original Sonic, never saw Sonic 2, but just see what it was all about. You know, the effects are kind of cool. But the big one, well, I'll say the opening big one that I wanted to talk to you guys about, Moana 2.
Yeah.
Moana 2 set a Thanksgiving record for box office gross. Was being projected between 1.5 and there was even some talk about the $2 billion plateau for that movie. Seriously? Which would have put it above Inside Out 2. This year, it set the record for animated movie. However, it's stalled out. Currently sitting at $790 million, the fourth highest grossing movie of 2024. But yeah, it's kind of stalled out, and it has some people wondering if it will hit even $1 billion because of the movies that I just mentioned coming out. Yeah. First off, have either of you seen Moana 2?
I have not seen it. We were thinking about taking Charlie to see it, but we're not. We still think she might be a bit young for theaters. She doesn't really have a very good attention span. But I also heard that it's not as exciting as the first one, so I'm not sure if she would even enjoy it that much. Andy, have you seen it?
I have not yet. Yeah. I've been.
You're the problem.
Yeah, no, it's my $16 that's going to keep them away from that $1 billion mark.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I was reading about it. I'm definitely a fan of the first one. The I heard that originally it was going to be something like they were going to do it as like a series.
Are they still not? I thought
on
they're
Disney Plus.
Moana 2 was going to be a Disney Plus release, but then it became the most streamed movie in the history of streaming. And they're like, wow, we better capitalize on this. So Disney wasn't prepared for the streaming aspect of it. It made 640 or 680 million, on its initial theatrical release. So not a huge blockbuster by any stretch. But then Disney Plus came out and it continued to top the charts month after month. So they decided to move it into production as a full feature.
Yeah,
and then,
but I heard the animation quality is less than it was on the first one. And,
was it rushed? Is that why?
There was something with the animators. I don't know that Disney was like screwing over the animators or something like that, or I'd have to look it up and see. Woefully ill prepared to back up my statement. Yeah. So that's allegedly screwing over the animators, but maybe not. I really don't know.
So are they? I had thought they were supposed to do like a TV series for Moana. Is that what they were talking about doing on Disney Plus, or was
that's what I had? Yeah, that's what I had read. That the story for Moana 2 was actually supposed to be like a
show series or whatever. Yep. Yeah. I wonder why they got away, just because it was streaming so well. So okay, Trav, have you seen it then? Right?
No.
Oh, you haven't either. Okay.
No, because we were gonna go. I was gonna take my daughter, but then she ended up going with some friends. And so we are thinking of going this weekend. Obviously, there'll be a lot of people at the other movies, so we'll have our pick. But from when we were in Disney, I talked to a lot of people just on the buses or in the parks and lines and things like that. But we didn't. We heard a lot that there were no memorable songs. Which kind of is a big thing for Disney movies. Hey, there's a song that you just you hear over and over again. And then also, if you're a Rotten Tomato guy, it's sitting at about a 62% last I saw on Rotten Tomato. So obviously that has a big pull. The initial rush, people that wanted to see it, and then there wasn't that momentum of this is another great movie, another great chapter in Moana, because they also have already announced and already signed Dwayne Johnson. They're doing a live action Moana as well.
Right.
Yep. So, it was kind of, hey, this is the people that wanted to see it. Hey, I want to see it on opening week. It was Thanksgiving and it kind of leveled out. So now they're wondering if it'll even hit $1 billion, which it's $1 billion, 900 million is still okay.
The only thing that I haven't really seen much about it, but the big tell for me was I feel like, especially with like Encanto and all the other Disney flicks, you would see songs being played on Instagram, used in reels, or people would talk about it, dissecting it. I've not heard a single thing about Moana 2. Like, not even like, I can't tell you a single song. Because before we watched Moana, the first one, I knew a lot of the songs just because that's being constantly played. Moana 2, I don't know a thing about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. I couldn't tell you a song from it. And I try to keep up on, stuff like that. But it was weird to me because I saw as we were prepping, trying to set up a time to do this podcast, that was one of the topics I wanted to do was, Disney having 3 $1 billion movies. It was it's going to happen. Disney's going to have $3 billion movies in the same year. And this one, it may not make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to step away one quick second. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I've got a child that's running around the house that's being very quiet. So now I'm terrified. So I'm going to go ask her opinion on Moana 2 while you guys wrap up Moana.
Please do. We need that.
I'll let you know.
And Andy, when it comes to I'll say the Disney blockbuster, because we talked about it earlier, and I'd have to look at how many of the top 20 movies, or even how many of the $1 billion movies are under the Disney umbrella. Do you think if you don't make $1 billion at Moana 2, even if you come in at 900 million, Is it a Disney blockbuster?
I think so. With the when you're talking the animation, I'd have to look at what the budget is on animated pictures versus, because I mean, I have to think it's considerably cheaper. I don't know if we've got a production budget for Moana.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
I think
obviously,
there's a lot of these big budget movies, like what's one that's coming up. Most of your Marvel movies are 200 to 300 million, the real big ones.
yep.
That, and then a huge marketing budget to go ahead and get that done. So yeah, Moana 2, with marketing and production costs 250 million. So, but that's the marketing too, 150 base production costs. So that's not a bad return on your investment of 250 million. I mean, I would say you're probably happy with that. I mean, you'd be more happy if you hit $1 billion, but you're not gonna, as a Disney stockholder, it doesn't upset me too much.
Yes, because it's profitable. And it's funny, that would be 900 million, 800 million is, huge for any other studio that's out there. And to see people question, was this a flop, or was it, in this case, rushed? Was it a failure? Things like that. And you're talking something that anywhere between 800 to $1 billion, and you have these type of questions. It just shows the bar that Disney studios have set for themselves.
Yeah, it's insane. This isn't going to hit $2 billion, so it's a flop.
Yeah.
Like, what are you kidding me?
Exactly. And we've had a great year, and I know Funkel's a huge theater goer. Andy, you used to be, a huge theater goer. You still go periodically, but the movie has to be, the right movie to go see instead of just stream it. So it was kind of cool that you had a couple records being set over this Thanksgiving holiday season. And before, you had Moana with the biggest Thanksgiving opening. Then you had Wicked as the highest grossing musical movie of all time. And my daughter, she's in theater. She's loved theater pretty much her entire life. And I said, honey, I'm going to take you to see Wicked, knowing that she doesn't like the musical. She doesn't like the soundtrack. So just kind of stirring the pot. And she goes, if you take me, I'll walk out. But yeah.
Oh, what a hater.
Wow. Yes. But Wicked, anything that you guys are familiar with, like I know some of the music only because as it was coming out, Bogan, just like you said, I saw it on a lot of TikToks and things like that. And I'd heard a couple of songs before from the Broadway musical, Idina Menzel. But Wicked, what was your, I guess, exposure to Wicked before the movie? And do you have any interest in seeing it, even when it comes out on streaming, if you haven't already?
Me first? Who first?
Yes.
Okay, so I am familiar vaguely with the story, just because I was also a theater kid growing up, and so it seemed pretty unlikely that if you're a theater person, you don't know something about Wicked. You kind of get chastised for that. I've not seen the play. I've never read the book, but I knew a little bit of the story. Going into like the movie, I've not seen it yet. Taylor actually went and saw it. So she was obsessed with it. She loves it to the point to where she took my Audible password and is listening to the audiobook. So she really enjoyed it. Me personally, I don't know. I'm not the only thing that's really keeping me from seeing it is Ariana Grande. I'm not a real big I think her name was Arian Naders is what she calls her fans. I'm not a big fan of her, so I don't really have a drive to see it. But Funkel, I think he's seen it like twice, and he is pumped and loves it. It's insane. That guy has seen it more times than anybody else I've talked to.
Oh, Funkel.
Yeah.
Andy, your turn.
I have not seen it. I'll watch it. I will. I'm not super familiar with Ariana Grande's music. Not something that's in my wheelhouse, but I've got nothing against musicals. Honestly, it was during my lunch hours. Sometimes I'll knock off things that I haven't seen before, and it was last year or during lunch hours I watched The Sound of Music for the first time.
Oh,
Really?
And
wow.
I'd never seen that, and so I
Okay.
watched that during a couple lunch hours. So yeah, I don't have anything against musicals or anything like that. And I'll get around to seeing it. I just don't know if I'll pay in the theaters. I'll probably wait till it's streaming.
For sure.
But
For sure.
yeah, and this is part one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if many people knew that going in. I didn't realize this was part one. And it's crazy because the stuff that I've heard about it, normally in the play, the second part of the third act is pretty slow, like pretty uneventful. It's just the first half that really, really brings out a lot of it. And so, since the second half of the movie obviously is going to cover that end part, I'm curious to see how well it'll do compared to the first part. But yeah, I didn't know it was a two-parter until I guess Taylor was saying when she went and saw it, it popped up and said part one. And I'm like, well, I never see The Wicked part one, advertised.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, I only knew about the part one, part two because of TikTok and
Yeah.
acts and people that are very passionate about it. Which hey, whatever you like, I'm passionate about Disney. Have your own passion, and they're on there, reminding people this is just part one. Made sure to go.
Can you believe it? There's gonna be a part two.
Movies have to be part one and part two, it feels like, anymore. I just don't get it. There's so many part ones, part twos.
Yeah.
Harry Potter is the one to blame, I think. Prisoner of Azkaban, wasn't that the first one? The first big one? Part one and part
Chamber
two?
of Secrets.
It was
The Sorcerer's Stone.
well, that was the first movie, but the first
Deathly
when they
Hallows.
broke into two, Deathly Hallows.
Deathly Hallows.
Partly
That's
one.
what it
And,
was.
yep.
Yeah.
And well, recently it was Kevin Costner, but that didn't do well. I don't know where part two is going to end up. What was that? What was his Western epic?
Horizon.
Yes. So that might just go straight to streaming for part two.
Dune did great a part two. That's a part two that did fantastic. Dune.
I didn't see the first one. I didn't.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Where's the popcorn bucket? I was looking for it back there in the back, and I don't.
Oh, buddy, don't you worry about the location of that popcorn bucket. Don't you worry. Nestled safely under my tree. That's correct.
Mary. So we've talked movies, Moana 2. We've talked about just what a year for movies. I mean, you look this year, you had Inside Out, just under 1.7 billion. Inside Out 2, sorry.
Crazy.
You had Deadpool and Wolverine, 1.33 billion. Despicable Me 4, 970 million. Moana 2, 790 million. And rounding out the top five, Dune Part 2, 714 million. So you had 5 movies this year that eclipsed $700 million. So a very good movie season. It's good for those of you that love the theater experience. And after the pandemic, there was a lot of concern of what's going to happen to movie theaters. We lost some here where we live, but it's great to see these kind of numbers being thrown up. Obviously, even in a town like we live in, charging $16, $18, $20 to go see a movie, that helps those numbers.
Yeah, anymore it's got to have Star Wars in front of it, or for me to be forking over that kind of cash anymore. I've reached that point.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though? What Funko does is he's got that A-list plus thing where you get to see X amount of movies per week. And I don't think it's that expensive a monthly thing. So I wonder how those tickets factor into some of these numbers.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Yeah, he's probably skewing the numbers. Him and his people.
Yeah.
Dang it, Funko.
Yeah, Moana 2 would have done so much more better if he wasn't using his
would have hit that million.
What a jerk.
Let's start a GoFundMe for Moana 2 to get to $1 billion.
That's a great idea. For those of you that are watching and listening, Caitlin Clark, I'm looking at you. Just make sure to donate to that. Anyways,
we'll take some off top too. Just be honest.
While we're talking about movies, I want to throw a curveball at you guys that I just thought of right now. Wanted to get your thoughts on Superman trailer.
Way up.
Yes?
Excited.
Thumbs up there.
Way up.
Very excited.
Crypto.
So,
one word.
How about it?
Crypto, dude. That was awesome.
How about it?
When you see him whistle.
Oh, yeah.
Sold me.
Yeah.
Sold me.
dude, that was so
cool.
good. We got any Bogan, Travis? You guys, what do you think of Zack Snyder's universe?
Go ahead, Trev.
It depends. It depends on the movie. Like, what was the Zack Snyder Justice League?
Mm-hmm.
That cut that I actually took the time to watch only because there's a guy I used to work with at Best Buy that is just when it comes to music and movies. When I left Best Buy, he had worked there the whole time. He's coming up on 25 years now, and he had over 1,400 DVDs. He's just a movie freak, loves it, things like that. And he was one. Whenever I would go back into Best Buy and look, he'd always be there. And he was saying, "You've got to watch this. You've got to watch the Zack Snyder cut." Okay, I trust you. You know a lot, and I was really pleased with it. And so I'm excited to see what he does with the story. And that trailer kind of got me in a zone where I'm like, you know what? I'm past comfortable. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And that's where and I don't do a lot of opening night movies. I just don't. But this, I'll have to ask my boys, my sons, and see if they want to go. But they're both excited, so it might be an opening night for us.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, the thing with me and Zack Snyder and what he did with his DC movies was the biggest miss for me in those is his idea of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have an issue with Batman or Ben Affleck's portrayal of him, and I think the first Wonder Woman is probably one of the best comic book movies that I've seen.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
The second one is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but the first one was amazing. But I always felt that what we got was Zack Snyder's Superman in a way that, if you know anything about the Justice League or Superman and Batman, is Superman was a light to Batman's dark.
Right.
And I think what Zack Snyder had was he made Superman too dark to where there wasn't a huge, yin and yang to go on there. And it just, I don't think it was Henry Cavill's issue. I think it was a way that Superman was written that just, it didn't work for me. And what I saw in James Gunn's trailer is the complete opposite of what Zack Snyder did, to where, it was bright, it was color, it was, and I think, one of the things that I keep seeing, because it got me too, is there's one scene in that trailer where Superman comes in and saves this little girl from this explosion.
Dude, that is such a beautiful shot.
That is Superman right there. And that type of thing is what I think the Zack Snyder stuff was missing. And the mythology of Superman, he gets his powers from the yellow sun,
right? That
we have, and that's why I think that James Gunn went with such a bright aesthetic. And there's a scene where Superman's flying across outside Lex Luthor's window, and he's flying. It's bright out there, he's going across, and then it cuts to Lex Luthor turning around, and immediately gets dark as soon as he turns around.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff like that. A lot of people are. Crypto, I think, was trending on X.
So cool, man.
And the Zack Snyder fans, they're going to look for any reason not to go ahead and you're sticking the dog in there and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how many directors and storytellers I'd trust to be able to pull off Crypto in a Superman movie except James Gunn.
Yeah, for sure. There was there was a meme that I saw today. It was a picture of that scene where Crypto was pulling the cape, and it was like James Gunn, and then below it said Zack Snyder, and it had Crypto standing there with a rifle. And it's like, that's exactly 100% how it was. I mean, growing up, I've always been Team Batman. Anybody that was a big Superman fan, it was like
I can see that behind you.
Look, in case you couldn't tell, all the cows. I've always been big into Batman. Superman really wasn't my thing because he was like this beacon.
Boy Scout.
Yeah, exactly. But man, I loved Henry Cavill. He was a great Superman. I don't think he was a good Clark Kent. This David Cornswit guy, whatever his name is, this dude looks like a great Clark Kent. And from what I've seen as Superman, it's just cool. I'm really excited for it. The one thing that really surprised me, and I'm curious what your thoughts are, was the title card that popped up that said from the director of Guardians of the Galaxy. That was really crazy that they mentioned that in a DC trailer. I was like, oh, wow.
Yep. Yeah, well, they know, you know, I mean, there was a time where, you know, James Gunn got fired from directing the third Guardians of the Galaxy. There was some stuff that had come up on X with some jokes he had put on there from 10 years ago, and he had gotten fired for about, I don't know, 6-7 months. And I was paying attention to that a lot because I thought, man, how are they going to do this? You know, the actors were really, they were contracted to do the third one, but they weren't happy that he wasn't there, you know, directing it. They were going to use his script, but he wasn't directing it. And then, of course, it came back. I think it was a classic case of let's let this just calm down a little bit. Then we'll go ahead and bring you back in once it calms down. But I think you know, Guardians of the Galaxy was such a hit. I don't know if anybody could have pulled that off. That was the biggest risk Marvel ever took that early in their cinematic universe.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 people had 99 out of 100 people had no idea who the Guardians of the Galaxy were.
No.
And a talking raccoon being introduced into the Marvel universe.
Groot.
Yeah. And Groot. Yeah. I mean, a huge risk to be able to go ahead and pull that off. And he pulled it off fantastic. So I think Superman's in good hands. I think James Gunn really gets who Superman is. It'll be interesting to see what he does with everything. But yeah, excited for that.
One last comment I'll make. I'm sorry, Trav. Go ahead.
Go ahead, buddy.
The one thing that I will say that the time that with the Zack Snyder universe coming out, it was really competing against some big hit Marvel flicks. I think with the direction of Marvel changing, I mean, I know they have that new one coming out, that new Captain America flick coming out, but I think the competition against DC right now isn't going to be nearly as neck and neck as it was for Zack Snyder. So I wonder if maybe, since you don't have the super light Marvel stuff in your face, if the DC universe would do a little bit better this time around, instead of it being so dark and gritty and, you know, Martha kind of a stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see the direction this goes.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that's a good point. Funkel has predicted that Captain America will flop.
We have it on record.
Really?
So yeah, he's not feeling that. And you know what? It's going to be interesting.
I don't know. Harrison Ford as Red Hulk. That's really interesting, man. I don't know if it's going to be a $2 billion movie, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I did hear that, you know, they're pulling out all the stops. As we know, Marvel took their foot off the gas some this year.
Yeah.
The only release they had was Deadpool.
Yeah.
In theaters. You know, they've got Captain America this year, but I did hear that they did sign Chris Evans to appear in Avengers Doomsday. So in that movie will contain Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. So it'll be, you know, Marvel's going back to the well a little bit. It'll be interesting to see. I'm assuming that Chris Evans will play another version of Captain America, probably from a different timeline or something like that. But we'll see.
He comes in as Johnny. What is it? The guy from Fantastic Four. What is it? Johnny Blaze. He comes in as Johnny Blaze.
Flame on. And Andy, you said it best. You know, my concern leading up to, you know, James Gunn's release or even the trailer release was the bad taste that I had from Justice League. You know, with Superman, because you and I grew up with Christopher Reeve,
who is my favorite Superman.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes,
yeah,
and dude, him as Clark Kent, you bought that every time.
You know, I watched a thing with that, and it's just a little thing that people like us we see, but I don't think we appreciate. We just go with it. But actors, it's such a little thing. There was a scene that showed. Yeah, it might have been it was either the first or the second Superman movie. There's a scene where Clark goes to Lois Lane's apartment, and he's going to tell her that he's Superman, and she's turned around and he takes his glasses off while she's turned around, and as soon as his glasses comes off, he stands up straighter.
Yeah.
And it seems to like grow
Yeah.
an inch or two. He plays Clark Kent just a little slouched, little unsure of himself.
Yes.
But as soon as the glasses come off, he stands up and he's Superman. You know, so it's just that little thing and how he portrayed him. But I went back and watched the movie after I watched that little blurb about the Richard Donner talking about it, and I'm like, holy shit! Every time that Clark Kent is on there, every time Clark Kent is on screen, he's a different stature than he is when he's playing Superman. It's just a little thing that makes all the difference.
Yeah,
and that which one of you said it about Henry Cavill's Clark Kent? You don't get that. You know,
no, it's the same character.
Yep, I like that. And yeah, it was growing up and seeing those Superman movies, you know, and that Christopher Reeve was Superman. You know, obviously the comic book, and you know, we talked about, you know, all the changes, all the reiterations of Superman and things like that. And you know, he's one of those that when I think about Superman, you know, in the case from the comic books, he portrays him as, this is what I would imagine after reading this comic book. And that, you know, that's a good topic for another draft, is actors who portray the characters that you've read about.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, on to the next topic. It's Christmas time, folks. It's the holidays, and with that comes some surprises. That's right. We've got a surprise, as I like to throw in there, a surprise topic. All right. So I hope you guys are ready. This one, as we were talking about movies, comes from some iconic movies. And I wanted to get your take on which one and why is your favorite Christmas movie line.
Ooh.
So we've got the ever popular, from the highly debated Christmas movie Die Hard. We have Yippee Ki-Yay.
That isn't the whole line.
What's the rest of the line?
Yeah, I'm gonna need that.
Yeah. How am I supposed to judge the quality if I don't know what the line is?
Yes.
Well, I said it, but apparently we've got technical difficulties, and there was this beeping sound.
Always.
Well, here, I'll say it.
Yeah.
No,
I got you. No, this one working? Let me get it out here.
Can we do the network television, the CBS version?
Yippee Ki-Yay, mother, father.
Yep.
That's the network.
Mother and father.
Yep.
So we've got that one.
Okay.
Or You'll Shoot Your Eye Out, Kid.
Oh.
Yes. From A Christmas Story. And it was cool. Funkel's brother was actually at the embassy when Peter Billingsley came to basically talk and see and show A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
He said it was a blast. Said it was a good time. I thought about going to that because I've done something at the embassy. I took my daughter to see A Princess Bride with Carrie. What can't I remember how to say his last name? Carrie Elwes.
Elwes.
Yeah.
Elwes.
Yep. And that was cool. We were front row, and
so cool.
That was awesome. She loves that movie, and she'll remember that. But anyways, guys,
wait, no love for William Shatner?
Oh yes, we did see Andy.
The
you
Wrath
and
of
I.
Khan.
Yes, the Wrath of
really?
Khan.
Oh yeah,
dude.
with William
I didn't know
Shatner.
about this.
Oh,
Yes.
it was awesome.
Oh wow, I didn't know about that. That's cool,
dude. Me, you, Brandon.
Yep, the three. Yep, us three.
And we were up high, and dude, it was. How old is he? We looked it up.
93, I think.
And he was, dude.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And he's just as quick as ever, you know. And it's just listening to him talk about that, and you know, everybody, you know, when God, you know, and people cheering and just going.
He's 93.
Wild.
He really is 93. Oh my
Yes.
god.
Yep.
That is insane.
Chandler Bing style. Oh my God. Anyways, so the gentleman, the floor is yours. Who wants the first shot at the surprise question?
Oh,
which line and why?
Me?
Oh, he chose you.
All right, I'll go first. Which line is better?
Yes. And why? What makes it better?
I think
or iconic. You decide.
More iconic?
You decide.
Oh, that's tough. Okay, so I'm gonna go with my heart. My heart says You'll Shoot Your Eye Out, The Christmas Story, just because I mean, it's Christmas Story. That's one you have to absolutely watch it on Christmas. If you don't, it's on the channel that's on 24 hours. It's constantly playing. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows that he wants the BB gun. That's a thing. And then the consequences of shooting the gun and the icicle, everybody knows that. So, I mean, not that everybody doesn't know the mother father, but at the same time, I think traditionally speaking, a Christmas holiday movie, you go to A Christmas Story, you go to Ralphie, and you go to You'll Shoot Your Eye Out. 100%.
And you follow it up with, oh my God, I shot my eye out.
Oh, I shot my eye out. An icicle. Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, that movie alone, I mean, Die Hard is fantastic. That Funko will probably say that, but I mean, there are so many incredible things from A Christmas Story, and that line, it's great. It's fantastic.
All right, Andy, your turn.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think what does it is the fact that where people have there's a dialogue every year, whether Die Hard's a Christmas movie or not.
Yep.
So there's some say yes, some say no. There's no doubt A Christmas Story is a Christmas movie,
right,
and it gets run every single year. Do they still do 24 hours of A Christmas Story?
I think they did last year.
I love that. Just turning that on.
Yeah.
Just throughout the day.
You have to. Christmas morning, when you're opening presents, that movie's playing in the background, man.
Yeah, I mean, it is. There's, that movie flopped at the box office.
Crazy.
When it came out. It wasn't until, I believe, home video that it became a classic. That's kind of, the same thing with Wizard of Oz. Flopped at the box office.
Yes.
And didn't get its traction until when they started playing it on TV in like the 70s or something like that. Every year they'd play it at a certain time of year. I don't know if it was Easter or something like that around that time. But it's got to be Ralphie. It's so good. And I will say, since earlier we were talking sequels, the sequel to A Christmas Story, the actual sequel, not the ones they did, but the one that came out a few years ago on Max, I did not have high hopes for, because of the fact, but I'll tell you what, that movie's got a lot of heart, and it was well done. I was pleasantly surprised with how well done it was. It's not as good as the first one, but it carries the flag of the first one. So I think it's A Christmas Story Christmas or something like that.
I've not seen it. I've only seen the first one, and it's one of those movies where I'm afraid to watch a sequel of.
To put a borrow a line from Funko, put it on your list.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'll do that right now.
Yep, I think with Christmas up right here, watch it because it'll make you tear up. Yep. I was scared to watch it. Ort actually told me, I told him, I'm like, there's no way it can be as good as the first or even near it. I didn't want to watch it. And he's like, give it a chance. So Ort, our episode mention of Ort is right now.
There
I don't know what timestamp we are.
58 minutes and 17 seconds.
We were really
it took a while.
Yep.
Yeah, we got it in the first hour though. So
there it is.
You're welcome, folks.
Yep.
Well, I'll go ahead and finish it out. When I came up with this surprise topic, I loved both lines are memorable and but yeah, just You'll Shoot Your Eye Out, and the different ways it's said.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I shot my eye out. Or
written on the test.
Yes.
P.S. You'll shoot your eye out.
Yep.
The Santa when he kicks him down the slide.
Yep.
So great. It's so fun, man.
And then he just lays there.
Yeah. Accepts it.
Yep. Moving on. We're gonna do this tie-in. Oh, we're back to the sporting world, but football. Oh, what's football? We have not just the NFL to talk about. This past weekend was the first ever round of games in the college football 12-team playoff. And I wanted to cover this. I wanted to throw that out there as well, because in the very first game of the 12-team playoff, it was two Indiana teams, Notre Dame versus IU. And tickets were going for $1,000 and over as the game got closer. And it it was a fun watch. I watched the second half. I was playing pickleball during the first half. They had it on, but it was a fun watch. And Ort and I, now we're really throwing them out there. Ort and I had debated over and over again, if IU belonged, if what it would look like because their strength of schedule was so poor. Who had they played? This and that, and then when they did play somebody, Ohio State showed that the IU wasn't ready for the big stage. But they came, it was 20-3 at one time. It wasn't looking good. Ended up 27-17. But then you had Penn State blowing out an overmatched SMU team. You had Ohio State just embarrassing Tennessee Volunteers. And then you had Texas beating Clemson. And so those were the winners of the four. And one thing I wanted to talk about there is if you guys did see any of the college football playoff, but if you agree with a 12 team now that the first round is over, you had obviously people get paid, not us, but sports people get paid to talk about it. And Monday, you're going to have a lot of did IU belong? Did SMU belong with teams like Alabama on the outside, teams like Ole Miss on the outside? Lane Kiffin, the coach of Ole Miss, was just on X just every game. But as Ord said, if you want to be in the playoff, just win enough games to be in the playoff and don't lose games.
Yeah.
So did either of you watch any of the college football playoff?
I mean, my name is Paul, and this is between y'all, man. I don't watch a thing about football, but I will ask real quick before I let Andy jump in. Why were the tickets for the IU Notre Dame game going so high? Is it just because it's two Indiana teams? Is there a rivalry there?
No. Indiana is terrible, notoriously terrible in football. And this year they brought in a coach from a Division II school, James Madison, coach named Curt Cignetti. And in his opening press conference, a reporter asked a question, who are you or what do you represent? And he said, just Google me, I win.
Oh my God.
That was his opening presser. And Indiana went 14-1 this year. And it was just an amazing year for Indiana football. No one saw it coming. He brought a lot of the kids from James Madison over in the transfer portal. And Ort likes to say in pro sports, like regular football, there's one winner and 31 losers.
Yeah.
But in college, I don't think that applies. Indiana won this year. If you look, they stole some 4-star prospects from other schools that decommitted and committed to IU. They signed Curt Cignetti to, I believe, a 10-year, $90 million contract, $9 million a year. You saw Indiana, which obviously everybody from Indiana knows we're regarded as a basketball state.
Right. Yeah.
That's what Indiana is. But Indiana was everywhere. Game day on ESPN was doing an Indiana game 3 times this year. So huge win for Indiana. Andy, did you see any of either that game or college football? But also, Bowden, yes, the ticket's $1,000 because it was 2 Indiana schools, and it was just, Notre Dame always draws a crowd. But then to have them playing IU in the very first 12-team playoff game, that's why. And on the flip side,
there's a lot of doctors that come out of IU, so there's a lot of money that they can go ahead and spend. And these guys that graduated from IU, that Mark Cuban graduated from IU. I don't know if he's in the game, but they're hungry for something like that, right? I mean, something they've never seen. First year for the 12-team format. The first Friday night football game at Notre Dame Stadium, and that thing's been around almost 100 years.
Wow.
So, I mean, just a big epic. The first ever game in the 12-team format.
Yep.
So, I did catch some of it. I think I agree with you. I think Indiana won. Nobody expected this. What they did, and I think with they absolutely belong there. They Notre Dame lately over the last 25, 30 years always folds in a big game. But they do when they get up there against historically the SEC teams, they get blown out. But with transfer portal and NIL, it's really evened the playing field amongst some of these schools now. I don't think it's a coincidence that Nick Saban decided to get out when he did, because now if you got money, you can recruit.
Yep.
And that's just it. So these teams, these big powerhouse SEC teams, had the playing field leveled against them here in the next, and I think you'll see a lot more diversity in the schools that make it to this 12-team format, and it's just a cash cow. This whole thing, they're going to wonder why they didn't do this so much sooner, because it's huge.
Yeah, and you look, it was Texas when you talked about NIL. Texas, just the supporters, the alumni, famously a billionaire, T. Boone Pickens, who was always rumored to give jobs to recruits to come to Texas, and the jobs were supposed to be actual jobs, but they would be, sitting in a chair somewhere, just, so they could get a little bit of a payday. But now you don't have to worry about that. Now you can say, come on out. And there's been the UNLV quarterback. They started out 5-0, and he left the team over an NIL disagreement over how much money he wanted. So you're going to have some of that stuff start to come up.
Free agency in college football.
Yep. Who wants me?
Yeah.
And who's coming with me?
You made a great point the other day. I'm getting off football just a minute, but the NIL deals, so name, image, likeness, basically for years, forever in college. If you had a college athlete, a Peyton Manning, or name a big college athlete that was there, the college could go ahead and sell that jersey, and the college would keep all that money.
Wow.
Because the athletes were considered, the way the NCAA rules were, you couldn't make money and be considered an amateur athlete, which required at the college level you had to be an amateur athlete. So that's why there was all these issues with like football players getting jobs. I mean, coaches couldn't buy these guys lunch or anything like that. And so what was it, 3 years ago when the NIL deal started, where the argument was basically the college profiting off the name, image, and likeness of these players. So now that they can do that, you made an interesting comment in the text the other day with, I was looking at Fever tickets, and kind of got in a text thread with Travis and Ort and Brandon asking them, you guys want to go to any games? I'm going to start looking, and you asked who I wanted to see, what games I was thinking, and I said, well, I'd like to go see New York. They won the title. I'd like to see them play New York, and I'd like to see a Dallas game. You were asking why Dallas, and I said because I anticipate them picking up Paige Beckers, who should be the number one pick. And you made mention if she decides to leave. And I was thinking, well, why wouldn't she? She's already 23, and she stays another year, she'll be 24 when she comes out. And you mentioned like they could pay her to stay in college.
A lot more than Caitlin Clark made in her first year, and it's UConn.
Well, salary wise,
yes.
I think she made quite a bit from Nike and some other places. But that's what's the landscape of college athletics has changed immensely in the last 3 years.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see. She, like you said, you've been following her. A lot of the talk has been Juju Watkins out of USC,
which I watched that yesterday. It was USC versus UConn.
Yeah, number 4 versus number 7.
Yep.
But yeah, and that was on a lot. I saw that on a lot of X, and I saw that on a lot of.
It was on Fox.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what you want to see. You want to see those players start to get big in college, so when they come in, that WNBA momentum. And like the Washington Mystics owner, I'll say this before we move on to the NFL. Andy was wrong when we talked about the athlete of the year. It should have been the entire WNBA. And we're moving on.
What an idiot.
What a maroon. What a maroon.
What a complete fool that woman is.
Oh, good times. Moving on to the NFL. We had an interesting stat that I was going to send out to you guys. Andy, you're a Bears fan. You've been a Bears fan for all your life. The Bears are the first team in NFL history to lose 9 straight games where their quarterback has not thrown an interception.
If nobody can do it like they can.
Didn't you say early on in the podcast that this is going to be a good year for the Bears?
I did.
Okay, just curious.
I did. Yep. And once again, they have kicked me right in the testicles.
Next game. It's always the next game, right? Game number 10.
Yep. I never get used to it. But yep. Happens every year.
And they 9 games. The quarterback has not turned over the ball, and they've lost all 9 of them.
Yes.
So
the Bears. Could be worse. I could be a Cowboys fan.
Ooh. Is that number 4? Is that number 4?
Yeah.
Yes, the reference.
There it is.
Yeah, it's not a good year for them. Good Lord. But that's what makes it fun. Andy expects it, or it shocks him when the Cowboys have a terrible year. Andy expects the Bears to.
He knows what's going to happen.
Yep.
You know what one of my favorite things is? The last couple of years we've done it, and I think I've got video. I'd have to find it. Going over to Ort's house on draft night and waiting for the Cowboys pick. And when it's something he doesn't agree with, he doesn't even get mad. He just
he just stares.
And then I text it out to everybody. Yep.
Trying to comprehend what just happened. And it happens every year.
Man.
We've got some great matchups or some great records heading into the playoffs. The Chiefs, I don't know how they do it. Well, it's Patrick Mahomes and it's Andy Reid. The Chiefs are 14-1, and I believe they have not scored 30 points in any game this year.
Wow.
They're 14-1 while not scoring 30. You've got the Bills, who have the front runner for MVP and Josh Allen at 12-3.
Who, by the way, has been playing with a broken left hand since week 1. They just announced
really?
That. Yep.
Dude, you only need one hand to throw the ball.
There it is.
The Steelers coming out of nowhere. Nobody, unless you're a Steelers fan, saw that coming, because here were your quarterbacks at the beginning of the season. You had Andy's favorite, Justin Fields, who had been recently signed. And then you had one of my favorite players, Russell Wilson, who was signed for league minimum after not doing well in Denver. Of course, when you're guaranteed a couple $100 million, you can take league minimum somewhere else and play. They're tied with the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, and then you've got probably the biggest surprise is you've got the Washington Commanders, who drafted a rookie quarterback right after Caleb Williams. They drafted right after the Bears did, and they got Jaden Daniels. They all but locked up a playoff spot with a win today. And then you've got the Detroit Lions, 13-2. The Vikings are 13-2. So you've got some impressive records. My Seahawks lost a heartbreaker. Again, we won't talk about that. They are second place and pretty much saw all their hopes and dreams dashed after a loss today. Anyways, yep. NFL. We'll touch on it briefly. Andy, the Chiefs. I went into last year in the playoffs, or now we're talking. I didn't bet a game that they were in because I don't want to bet against them. I didn't think, I knew they'd be close, but the money I laid down was never on the Chiefs because you can't count them out. You've got one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in his prime, and he's still extremely young. Do you see the Chiefs pulling it off again this year with, a Mahomes injury? He ankle, but came out and played. They won again. Travis Kelce apparently is now resigned to the role of being Taylor Swift's boyfriend and forgot how to play football. And a bunch of guys that I can't name. Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, who might be in jail for a Lamborghini accident. So, but you still have Andy Reid and you still have Patrick Mahomes. Anybody out there that you would put ahead of them right now?
No, just strictly on the Mahomes. He won a Super Bowl with an injured ankle, so he's not an ultra mobile quarterback anyway. So no, I'm not picking anybody over the Chiefs right now. And Jalen Hurts got concussed today, so that along with the Eagles' loss, so no, I will not put anybody in front of the Chiefs.
And so I had a question about the Chiefs. So you were talking about how they had that 14-1 is their record, and they don't have any games over 30 points. Is that pretty common? That seems surprisingly low, right?
Yeah, not with that quarterback.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. So is their defense just struggling then, or is their offense not as good? Like, what's the story behind that? Do we know?
It's kind of a down year for Mahomes.
Yeah,
I think, but again, there's nobody I'm giving the ball to. At the end of a game, in the history of the league, there's three people, the top three that I would give, and you could put these probably right 3, 1A, 1B, 1C would be Joe Montana, Tom Brady, and Patrick Mahomes. Those are the three guys I want to have the ball in a 1-minute situation to win the game.
For sure.
Yeah.
Were the scores close on those games, Trav?
Oh yeah. So you look at their games, this year they won 27-19 yesterday. Let's see, 21-7. There was a 19-17. They had back-to-back 19-17 games. They had one game where they scored 30 exactly. They won 30-27 over a Panthers team, which is horrible. So a couple more 2-point games. Yeah.
So they're actually close games. It's not like they're destroying and then it's just slow, boring games. Like, it's actually a fighting.
Yes. And that's what Andy said. Yeah. If they have the ball, if they have a chance and they have the ball, yeah, it's
interesting.
We want the ball and we're going to score.
Thank you, Matthew Hasselbeck. Gosh dang it. Too soon. Andy, how do you feel about the Ravens this year winning the Super Bowl? Is it time to
win the Super Bowl? Okay. No, they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
There we go. All right, moving on.
Yes. Last thing about football, and Bogan, you'll find this interesting. You not following college football,
correct?
But obviously, Deion Sanders, coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. There's a possibility, and depending on how the draft falls, who ends up at what position, it would only be the second time in history that a school has the number 1 and number 2 draft pick.
Whoa.
Come out. And that would be the Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter, who's a wide receiver / cornerback. And that would be their star quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, one of Deion's sons that plays. First and foremost, Andy, is Prime Time, Coach Prime, on the Colorado sidelines next year? If not, where is he?
If he's not, he's in Dallas.
Big move.
Or, if somebody really, if they're completely out of their mind, who right now has the number 1 pick? If the draft were to.
I don't know if the Patriots won, but let me see. If they lost, it's them.
Well, I think you're going to see with Shedeur, I think you're going to see one of those situations, an Eli Manning situation.
It's the Giants.
Oh, wow.
So he could go to New York.
Yeah, good. And the Giants are a train wreck anyway. He's going to get completely beat to hell in New York, but it's a big market, and that's exactly what Deion wants. Is a big market like that. I think Deion loses interest in the college game real quick after his sons are gone. Especially I don't think if it wasn't for this gig that Dion has any real interest of living in Colorado for long term.
And all they have to offer.
Yeah. He loses Shadur and Travis Hunter. This is the best record he's going to have at Colorado. Those are two big pieces that he's going to lose. They're not going 9-3 or whatever the hell they went this year. So he may be there 1 year, but I would say if they could finagle it to where he ends up somewhere able to coach his son, that's where he'd like to do. But he can't stay out of the limelight, and Dallas is a big limelight, so we'll see.
Yeah, and you looked at Florida State, his college that he went to. Florida State will probably need a coach because they had a miserable year. But yeah, the Taintathon.com, who tracks up to date, they have Shadur going number 1 overall to the Giants and Travis Hunter going number 2 to the New England Patriots. Again, the first time since, I believe, 1990 when Penn State had the first and second overall pick.
And yeah, I heard something crazy to where that they're expecting or prime time, and I think Travis Hunter too want him to play both ways. Can you imagine that? What Dion's played that at that level. He knows that you can't do that wear and tear.
No,
and it's completely stupid.
Yeah, the number of snaps he's played this year, Travis Hunter, in college ball,
a lot of mileage.
Yeah, because he's played. There's been games he's played every snap.
Yeah, that's
offense and defense.
I mean, kudos to him, but when you're going to invest that much money, there should be no team out there that wants him on both sides of the ball.
Right. Yep. Bogan, any input on the Coach Prime?
I got some information. I want to give the listeners a little feedback and a little knowledge of what my football experience is. Okay. So I got a text today from my cousin, Zach, and it was sent to the wrong person. Clearly. He says, do I start Debo or Udunzi against Billy? And he's like, oh, I texted the wrong person. I said Debo and Udunzi. I don't know if I'm saying the name right. You play D&D or something? Those can't be real people. What are their magic ratings? And then I said, Billy sounds like a punk, but Odunzi in. Orcs are tough and would kick Billy's.
Yeah. No,
that is my knowledge.
Brilliant.
No, I like that.
Brilliant. I know who I'm reaching out to next year for my fantasy football questions.
Please do.
I might even ask him on the pod. We're going to bring you in.
If they have fun, they're fun Dungeons and Dragon names, I'll give you all the answers. Give me their magic ratings. No question.
Done.
No question.
Lord. All right. You know what it's time for?
What is it?
It's time for surprise number 2.
It's a Christmas miracle. 2 gifts? Oh, wow.
That's right, Bender. I've got you.
22. Look at that. He got it. He's got it. He knew.
Surprise number 2. Now, this one, I kind of thought that I already knew the answer that both of you would give, but it's music related. And we had talked about records being set when we talked to movies. But recently, the Grammy nominations came out, and there were 2 records set. And I wanted to get your opinion on the more impressive of the 2 records that were set. The first record was a single year, and the second record was a career. So the first record for a single year is Beyoncé having the most Grammy nominations in the history of music for 1 year for Cowboy Carter, which ironically didn't get any CMA nominations. The second one was Taylor Swift being nominated a 7th time for Album of the Year. So I wanted to get your guys' opinions and thoughts. And Andy, we'll start with you on this one. Which to you is more impressive? We had, and think back, we've had 2 people in the history of the Grammys do the 4 award sweep, which would be Record of the Year, Album of the Year, Entertainer of the Year, or Artist of the Year and New Artist of the Year. Hold, please.
Holding.
but the 4-award sweep was done twice, and it's been done by Krista Bird. Everybody remember
Lady in Red?
Yes.
And
it's been done by, it was just done 2 years ago by Billie Eilish. And those are the only times it's ever been done. And while I look that up, Andy, go ahead. Which one is more impressive? 13 nominations for a single album or a 7th album of the year?
Oh, I think on the 13 nomination side, I think, that's impressive. I don't know if it's warranted because people are split on what that album actually is. So, and Beyonce's got, I believe, the overall record for most Grammys. I think she's won the most of all time. I think she has, but I don't know. It's a toss-up. I mean, I would say if Taylor Swift wins album of the year, something that Beyonce's never won, if I'm correct, she's got the most Grammy wins, but has never won album of the year. I'm pretty sure that's, yeah. So I don't know. I that's a toss-up. I mean, they're both impressive. They're I don't know if I can name one. I think they are both an impressive thing. Yeah, you'd have to ask me afterwards so I could see who did what. I would say that you can't go wrong being impressed with either one of those.
Yeah.
And before we get to Bojan, let me correct myself. It was not Krista Bird. It was Christopher Cross that won.
Yes. My wife, for some reason, has an axe to grind with Christopher Cross. She cannot stand Christopher Cross.
Really?
And oh my God, she will turn it off. The other day, I found a album called A Christopher Cross Christmas.
Oh my!
Oh no!
And I was playing it, and she immediately turned it off once she found out who was singing. Christopher Cross is a gift to the American people, and she has returned the gift. She does not like Christopher Cross. The man is an icon.
Not even Ride Like the Wind?
She's standing right here. Not even Ride Like the Wind.
I don't know much. I don't know much about Christopher Cross, but I know that song.
Hey.
Dun, 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 dun.
So she's standing right here.
I have not met her in a long time. It's been a long time since I've seen her. I don't want her to hate on me.
No, she can't hate on you. I will stand by Ride Like the Wind.
It's fantastic.
It is the night and his body's weak. Yes.
No. And apparently your wife's opinion also weak. I'm sorry. We're just
very weak. Very weak. Oh my God, I'm gonna listen to it again after this.
Turn it up. Let's play it.
God.
1981.
And Arthur's
yes.
When you get caught between the moon and New York City, the best that you can do is fall in love. It's poetry.
1981, Christopher Cross, his debut album, Christopher Cross, won album
because
of the
he
year.
doesn't need a catchy album title.
Why?
Just his name is enough.
Yeah.
Album of the year, Sailing, won record and song of the year.
Sailing takes me away.
And he won Best New Artist.
Yeah.
I'm getting lost in all that is Cross.
All of it.
Wow.
So that was met only by Billie Eilish. So only 2 people have ever done it. Bojan, over to you. More impressive, 13 Grammy nominations for a single album or 7 album of the year nominations?
Man, 7 albums of the year is really impressive. I mean, not that the other one isn't either, but just, I don't know, man. It's kind of like what Andy was saying. It's really tough to choose which one is more impressive. I think both artists are incredibly talented. That's something that I think a lot of people would wish they'd be able to hit those kind of achievements regardless. But 7 album of the years, that's insane. I will say though, I don't think Taylor Swift's got it this year. This isn't the year. She's not winning. I'm gonna say it right now.
I've heard on Cultured Dudes, you're not Tortured Poets is not your
It's
favorite
not.
Taylor Swift disc.
It is not. I always mess up the title. I always said Dead Poet Society.
Okay.
I mess it up. I don't care for it. Midnights was the only album that I really obsessed over. I'm telling you right now. Funko said the name wrong on the last Rudimentary that he was on, but Chapel Roan, they're taking it. She's taking it.
Wow.
Yeah, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, I think is what it's called. Yeah, of a Midwest Princess.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna take it.
It's hers, huh?
Hot to Go, all that stuff.
You heard it here first.
I'm saying it.
But
Looking at the list, I mean, Andre 3000, that's a great album. I love his album, his flute album, but I'm telling you right now, Chapel Roan, she's taking it.
Wow. She said expect something controversial her to say something controversial if she wins.
Good.
So
I hope so. She's breaking all sorts of stuff, man. I love Chapel Roan. I love it.
She's unique.
Check out if you haven't. I don't know. Well, you're not subscribed to Apple Music. You might be able to find it on YouTube if somebody's put it up there. They've had a carpool karaoke Christmas thing, and it's not with James Corden.
Is it her and okay, sorry, go ahead.
It's Zane Lowe who hosts radio show on Apple Music. It is Chapel Roan. Let's see. It is carpool.
She just did Sabrina Carpenter's Christmas thing on Netflix, and she was singing with her, and she's great. I love it. I love where she just pops up and stuff. She's great.
Let's see. Dua Lipa, Chapel Roan, and Lady Gaga.
Oh wow!
And I watched it at least the Gaga portion yesterday. So
interesting.
Check that out. It's segmented. So hers, Chapel Roan, and then Dua Lipa, and then Lady Gaga at the end. Well done. Though.
Yeah. No, Chapel Roan's got it this year. 100%.
All right.
Lock it in.
Money down. Lock it.
We've got a 2 Close to Call, and we've got a 7 nominee for Album of the Year.
That's not going to win.
Right.
That won't win. That won't win. It's impressive. Not enough to win, though.
Beyonce has 32 wins as a solo artist of Grammys.
Is that a record?
Yes.
Has to
be. She's been nominated for Album of the Year 4 times and has lost 4 times. In 2010, she lost to Taylor Swift's Fearless. In 2015, she lost to Beck's Morning Phase. In 2017, she lost to Adele's 25. And in 2023, she lost to Harry Styles' Harry's House.
Didn't Adele even say she shouldn't have won that one that year? 25?
I think that was one. Yep.
I think that was one where she was like, I shouldn't have won this. This is 100% yours. Because I think that was the year. Was that Lemonade?
I think it was.
I think that was the Lemonade.
Lemonade was 2017. Yep.
So where does Rolling Stone have these albums?
Ooh, good question.
Hey.
I mean, I think they're both on it, right?
I
know Beyonce's is. I would imagine Adele's is.
Too. I think 25. Since you brought it up, Bogan, I saw you were probably looking. Andre 3000, New Blue Sun, Beyonce, Cowboy Carter, Sabrina Carpenter, Short and Sweet, Brat by Charlie XCX. We're gonna say Jacob Collier, Volume 4, because I don't even want D. Jesse. Hit Me Hard and Soft by Billie Eilish, which I've actually listened to a little bit of that. Chapel Roan, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess by Chapel Roan, and The Tortured Poets Department by Taylor Swift. Those are your nominees for Album of the Year.
Chapel Roan, man. 100%.
Okay.
Andy, have you listened to any of those? Tortured Poets Department.
I've heard. Yeah, I haven't heard the whole thing. I've heard parts.
Yep.
I've gone on record as saying I'm constantly impressed by all that follows Taylor Swift. I don't listen to a ton of her stuff, but am impressed just in what surrounds this woman.
Yeah.
It's just astonishing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Everybody, everywhere she goes, it's a force of money, and it's a force of just.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm going to dedicate this opinion or this statement. I'm gonna call it a statement of fact.
Oh, okay.
Oh, now I'm excited.
Yeah,
that Taylor Swift is the Caitlin Clark of the music industry.
Wow.
So, Funkle, that's for you, my friend.
I mean, I don't I don't think I disagree. I mean, I truly don't think I disagree. I know when I see Caitlin Clark's news, I'm like, all right, now I'm going to hear it on Rudimentary, or Funkel's going to say something.
Yeah.
I think the same thing with Taylor Swift. Like, oh boy, here we go.
Here
we go.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of here we go.
Uh-oh, here we go.
It's draft time, folks.
Draft time.
And being in the holiday season, our draft this time around is about Christmas presents. And this one can be, we're gonna open it up a little bit. You know why? Because we're in the giving spirit. All right. It could be your favorite Christmas presents that you've gotten over the years, or it could be just in general. What would be considered, a great Christmas present? So that way, since Funkel's not here, and it's always great to try to take each other's, this one is a little bit harder to take each other's. Bowden, you, sir, are the guest of the show. Would you like to have the first overall pick?
Before we start, I want to make sure I understand.
Yes.
Is this something we would like to receive, or is this like in movies?
All-time gift, period.
Okay. So it could be something fictional. It could be something real.
Right?
Like, okay. All right.
Yep. And just to clue you guys in, my answers are going to be my 3 picks. There's going to be a mixture of both. Some of the favorite stuff I've received, but also some of the stuff I would like. So, but Bogan, we'll leave it up to you. Would you want the first pick?
It doesn't bother me. I can go first. Actually, no. You know what? No. As the guest, I want to see what my competition is. I'm gonna go last.
Oh, he won the coin toss.
Wow, he wants the third and first. He wants
third and one, baby. 3 and 1.
Okay.
All right, Andy. That's what I liked when the pondering peeps draft.
Pondering.
I'm definitely
pondering Andy.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to say this would have been a real one. It's not a gift I received, but it would have been probably the greatest gift I ever got. It was the 6-foot-long USS Flag G.I. Joe aircraft carrier.
Oh, that sounds incredible.
The largest playset ever issued. It was an aircraft carrier that was 6 foot long. And at the time, probably $200. And this would have been 1987, 88, 86, somewhere in there. And it was just, that was the thing. Bogan, let me take you back to a time.
Take me back. I'm ready.
When one of the greatest times, so in A Christmas Story, one of the greatest things for them to start the Christmas season was going to the windows at the department store and looking at all the new stuff. There was a time when they would mail out catalogs to your house in the mail, the Sears catalog, the JCPenney catalog, big, thick catalogs. And there would be a whole section for toys.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my buddy Dan and I, I'd be over at his house and the mail would come and there's a Christmas catalog came in, flipping through there. And I remember seeing that aircraft carrier the first time ever. And that's why Christmas Story is such a great movie, because your wheels start turning on how you can manipulate people into getting you things that you ultimately don't deserve. Right. I wasn't on the honor roll. And I mean, and it was, I had very little to bargain with because I didn't like cleaning my room. So I ultimately, in my heart of hearts, knew that I would not be taking it to Cobra aboard the USS Flag. So I never did get it, but it would have been the greatest gift of all time.
Wow.
Number 1, the USS Flag.
That's a great pick.
That's a solid pick. Mine is in that same vein. However, I did get mine for Christmas.
Well, aren't you the honor roll student?
Yeah, here we go.
Nerd.
I received, and I forget what Christmas it was for. It was, while Andy was a G.I. Joe fan, I was a He-Man fan, and I had Snake Mountain, Skeletor's home, the Purple Castle, and it was one of the greatest things. It had the drawbridge. It was one of the greatest things that I had ever received. And I think it's still I think it might be in my attic in a tote. But just playing with He-Man and Skeletor and Man-at-Arms and Beastman, and Tila and Evil N, those Panther, I had Panther, but that castle just completed, the battles that would go on because He-Man would have to come to Snake Mountain. All right, so I didn't have Castle Grayskull. Andy, I think you might have had Castle Grayskull. But I had Snake Mountain, so He-Man would have to journey through Eternia to fight me at Castle Grayskull and Skeletor. But yeah, that dude, it was awesome. That gift when I opened it that day, just joy like you've never seen before. So my first overall pick is Snake Mountain.
Fun. All right.
Two for you.
2 for me. So my first pick, kind of in the same area as you guys. It's a vintage toy for me. I wasn't born when this came out, but I remember when I would go to my biological dad's house, he had gotten it for Christmas, and I remember playing with it and just thinking, man, I would love to have my own, and this would be the coolest Christmas gift ever. And it's the 1980 Darth Vader carrying helmet that had the 24 figures with it. You would have your vintage ones, and it was I played with it. It was my favorite thing ever, man. I absolutely loved it. Just having Obi-Wan, and you had your little tiny, and you had to keep all the accessories, man. And you had these little slots for them.
Yep.
Coolest thing ever. I remember when my biological grandfather passed away and they were taking stuff out of the house. I reached out to my biological dad and was like, hey, man, if there's any way I can get that. That's the thing I wanted for the longest time. I look it up online to see if I can find it hiding at Goodwill or something. But it's so cool, man. It's such a cool gift.
I have the Darth Vader carrying case.
Oh, do you
yes,
really?
He does.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And he's got the C-3PO one.
Yep.
Oh, dude, see, that was cool too, but I just distinctly remember when I would go over there, he had the big black helmet, man, and you pop it open, you slide it open, there's the slots. Dude, that was such a cool thing, man. Is yours full?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, we just did a job for a client, and in his garage, he had this huge divider, and we thought it was tools. And if you look on it, he's got the little old timey label maker, and it has these different character names, and he just has them full of 4 or 5 Obi-Wans. He's got 7 Vader. It's just cool vintage Star Wars toys, man. I think that would just be the coolest gift to have. I might be coming over and playing with your toys. So that was mine. The Darth Vader 1980s helmet. Number 2.
Round 2.
Number 2. This was a gift I got, and no surprise. I wasn't a sports guy. I was a video game guy. And this thing pretty much ruled my life. It was the Nintendo 64. And the game that I got with that Nintendo 64, Donkey Kong Country. Man, Donkey Kong Country on the 64 is an incredible game. Many nights just playing that instead of sleeping and getting ready for school. So many fun games on that 64, man. Mario 64 was fantastic. My life was dedicated to the N64, and that's
GoldenEye.
Cool. Oh my god, dude.
Yes.
GoldenEye LAN parties? Forget about it, dude.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Funko was at the house many times.
Oh.
Yep.
And that soundtrack. Just the soundtrack, man. Just starting that game up, and I would beg my brothers to play, and they wouldn't because they would not play with me.
When it comes to things like that, I don't know that I have a true nemesis. But when it comes to stuff like that, like video games and a pure disdain for them, my wife is my nemesis.
Really?
She cannot, to this day, the James Bond theme reminds her of GoldenEye. And when in the game, when you would die in GoldenEye, not during the multiplayer, but you die and it would go bum 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 bum.
Camera would do in the red. Yes.
She would hear that and she hates that. So yeah. Oh, fond memories of GoldenEye on the N64.
Getting the golden PP2K, man, and you're on that map, the snow map with the carts.
And you just let people know if you were playing in a party, you just let people know I've got the golden gun.
Hey, just so you know.
Yep.
This ain't gonna be a walk in the park, my friend.
Nope.
Just
Double O
enjoy it.
Bogan. Just so you know. That's my pick.
Man, mine.
64.
My second, our mom and dad, Andy and I's mom and dad, we always had enough, and I don't know, I look back on it and I don't know how they did it sometimes, but the major gifts that we had asked for over and over again somehow always appeared, and I never really
except the USS flag.
Say for you they did.
Yep. But Andy and I got, we had a Nintendo. We had a computer. I remember Andy and I bought a game over dial-up. It was a tank game that the tanks would be planted and you would just shoot over and over. But so again, no idea how they did it, but I won't include the dual presents, but one year, and I forget what year it was, I got the Home Alone Talk Boy. And for those of you unfamiliar, the Home Alone Talk Boy was the recorder that Macaulay Culkin used in that. It had the extendo microphone and it had a slow motion mode. And my parents got that for me. Totally, I'd asked for it, didn't think I'd get it. But I remember unwrapping it. And there it was, and I was recording everything, and just playing it back in slow motion or trying to be Macaulay Culkin in the movies and things like that. And again, I think that might be either at my mom and dad's house or it might be in a tote in our attic. But that one, I remember just taking it to school, which I was told not to do. So it wasn't enough that mom and dad, worked hard and saved it to get us the presents. They only asked a few things.
Yeah. Yep. And you had to flex it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
get the change, you filthy animal. Listen to
this. Where's your talk boy, jerk? Yeah. So mom and dad, love you. Thank you. Don't know how you did it, but
so cool, man. What a great gift.
Andy,
what else did you not get, Andy?
This one I did get, and it was I was probably 4 years old. I got a X-Wing fighter, actually for the figures, and I don't have it anymore because it ended up breaking. And I always took good care of my toys. I was so young when I got it. I probably dropped it. I don't remember, but had one of the original X-Wings, and that thing, I remember that because. That was when it came out. That was probably $20 in 1978, 77.
And they weren't small, dude. That was a good size one.
No, it was figure scale.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing was probably about 18, 20 inches long.
Dude, that's so cool.
Yep. It was, I remember that one, and it had a permanently mounted R2-D2, as a astromech in there, and you would push him down, and that's what turned the X-foils would make them separate. Yeah, great gift. Wow. The X-Wing fighter.
Any of those vintage Star Wars toys, man. I absolutely adore it. I remember having like I said, the Vader helmet, and then one of Mom's previous husbands had the Millennium Falcon, and I remember, and that thing was massive. It was a huge thing. You could put like 4 of them in. You open it up, and then it was so cool. Such a cool thing, man. Love those.
Yep, that was, you asked what else I didn't get, the Millennium Falcon.
There it is. It is. We need to bring up some memories. So
that hurts.
Sorry, buddy.
Andy, last pick of round 3. It's the snake draft, so it's you.
It's a 1-year membership in the Jelly of the Month Club.
How cool would that
be? Yes. Last second gift ideas. Anyone?
Like Frank Shirley, my boss, here tonight. I want him wrapped up with a big bow on his head.
And dude, I love it. Cousin Eddie, it pans over to him and he's got that look.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's feasible.
One of the greatest deliveries in any holiday movie. It's a 1-year membership in the Jelly of the Month Club.
Yeah. It's a gift that keeps on giving, Clark, the whole year.
That it is, Edward. That it is indeed. If
all
this
right.
isn't the biggest bag over the head punch in the face I ever got. So good.
Yeah.
God, dude, that's I mine is something I asked for currently, and my wife has failed in
It's not Christmas
14,
yet. How do you know?
Yeah. Why are you
13
shutting her
of
down already?
What a
13
jerk.
of the last 14 years. This year isn't over yet. 13 Christmases we've been through together, and I have yet to receive a Walt Disney autograph.
I hope she returns it. I hope she shows you. This is what you would have got until I heard Rudimentary, you jerk.
I've asked for a Walt Disney autograph. I think every Christmas for the last 13 years, and most of it, tongue in cheek, because there was a 3-day auction that was going on a week ago, which the only thing I got out of there was 2 Michael Eisner autographs. But
you're gonna get thrown out of the Disney fan club for that.
Yeah, you better blurt that out.
I have to start my CEO collection somewhere. But yeah, there were 5 autographs, and they ranged anywhere from, I think, 5,800 to about 9,800. Needless to say, there will be none on this or any wall in this house anytime soon. But yeah, it would be a Walt Disney autograph would be mine if I could ask for something and get it.
Oh, really cool.
Wrap it up, Bogan.
All right, my last one is another gift that I got that was my go-to play with thing, man. No surprise, I'm always a video game guy. So 64 was my last pick. This one, the Game Boy Color, specifically the one that I had gotten. So I got the Game Boy Color, but then I also had the attachment where you had the magnifying glass thingy that would flip up.
Big screen.
Oh, yeah, dude. And the only games I played were Pokemon games. That was it. The classic red, yellow, blue.
You gotta catch them all.
I had to, man.
Wow.
And I had to. But that was my thing, dude. Like oh my God, like that went everywhere. And that was the thing that we would bring to school to show everybody. We would have like these clubs afterwards where you're trading Pokemon back and forth. But if you had a Game Boy Color, you were cool. But if you had the Game Boy Color and the screen attachment with the light,
forget about it.
Panty dropper Bogan. Without that magnifying glass and turn on the light. Little do they know.
Come middle school, I couldn't take my gifts to school because they would have ended up stolen. Middle school, it was quite an adventure. Nothing ever bad happened to me or anything like that, but I saw some things in middle school that made me realize the world.
You didn't want to record it? You didn't want to record those things?
Sorry, Talk Boy, you're not coming with me.
No way.
Well, yeah, there you have it. There you have the holiday edition of the Pondering Peeps draft. Some great memories, and in Andy's case, some very sad, never realized memories.
Wow.
USS flag, look it up.
Kick him while he's down. Thanks, Mom. You're the best for that one.
Mom, if you're listening, I would like one, please. If you can make that happen. I'll bring it over. You play with that. I'll play with the Vader helmet. We'll call it a day.
Awesome. All right.
It's weird. I got 2 of the 3 gifts that I asked for. Anyways, moving on. It's time, guys. It's time. Our last segment, another one of our regular segments. It's Your Playlist Sucks, You Can Borrow Ours. And just like our Pondering Peeps draft, it's going to be a holiday edition if you want it to be. My edition is, but these guys don't have to. They could be Grinches and not follow the theme. But as always, with this, we add to our Spotify and our Apple Music playlist that you can follow, that you can be a part of, and we update it after every show. So this is going to be our holiday edition. And Bogan, you're familiar with the rules. You went last first, or on the Pondering Peeps draft, you went last. So you get to go first.
Cool. All right. So mine technically isn't a holiday one, but this artist is known for their holiday song. So every year, especially around Christmas time, I always remind people that Brenda Lee is more than just rocking around the Christmas tree. Fantastic song. It's fantastic. Yep. But her 1960 self-titled album, Brenda Lee, is fantastic. She recorded it when she was 16. There's like 3 songs on it. Dynamite's fantastic. But the one that I absolutely love is It's All You Gotta Do. and it has this incredible rockabilly vibe to it. She kind of has that like grovel in her voice that she does and Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. It's very Wanda Jackson sounding. Women of rock, man, and especially rockabilly is fantastic. And I try to get people to listen to more Brenda Lee outside of her Christmas album because she is just absolutely fantastic. So it's all you got to do by Brenda Lee is my pick.
That's
Brenda
solid.
Lee. I think I saw something on TikTok or something where Brenda Lee went to Target and with a grandson or something, and her Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, like a greatest hits thing, was there, and he showed it to her. So look that up. Brenda Lee at Target. Yeah, I just saw it like a week ago.
I think last year she just got some major award. Like I think it was some song of hers hit something that was, I don't remember the exact details, but people were still like, right now, if you look on her page, it's all Christmas music, but she is so much more, so talented. And at 16 years old, man, second album, fantastic.
And I personally want to thank you for going back in the timeline. Okay.
I did it specifically for you. I knew Funkle always brought the new, and I'm like, I'm going to bring something that I think both of you guys would appreciate.
90% of the shows that we've done, these two jerks are making fun of me for being stuck in the 50s or the early 60s. But not you, Bogan. Not you.
Look, we're all not Cabin Crew fans, all right? We're all not digging Cabin Crew. Let's just get it. Accept it. It is what it is.
Thanks, TikTok, for that one. Andy, you've got the 22 on. Do you want to go second, or would you like to wrap up?
Your call. It don't matter.
Go ahead, my friend. Go ahead.
1981.
Hey, all right.
It's probably my favorite Christmas song that because I am a sucker for power chords. Christmas is the time to say I love you by Billy Squier.
Yep.
Wow.
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
It's got a great 3-chord progression that is just a great rock Christmas song. Not hard rock, just a great power chord Christmas song. Fantastic. Billy Squier.
Look it up.
Do it.
As a side note, Bogan, December 9th, 2023, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree topped the Hot 100 for the first time in the United States.
That's what it was. That's what I knew there was some achievement for it, and it's a great song, but I want people to know there's more to Brenda Lee than just that Christmas album.
And this is the way to bring it to them. Bring it to the masses, my friend.
You're welcome.
Mine, I want you guys to
guess
get in your sleigh, and
I know what it is.
Get in your sleigh and come back to. It was tough. I was gonna do an Elvis Christmas song, but
I thought it was gonna be Blue Christmas by that Elvis song.
Oh, don't you worry. That was in my mind. But last year and this year, I've been really digging, if you will, Bogan. I have really been digging an artist around Christmas time because it makes me feel like I wish I could see what it was really like in the 50s and Back to the Future time like that, go back. But I imagine people, sitting by a fire or in a rocking chair. And when I listen to this album, I can just picture the artist literally having his grandkids there and singing or reading a story to him. So I'm going to have you guys come back to 1947 with me. So we're going to go behind 1958 and we're going to go Here Comes Santa Claus by Gene Autry. And the Gene Autry Christmas album has quickly become one of my favorites because it is. We had talked about Christopher Reeve being Clark Kent, and Gene Autry, for me, listening to that album, literally is that grandpa or that old, singing to his grandkids or telling his grandkids a story. And if you get a chance, just listen to his Christmas album, any of the songs on there, whether it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, The Christmas Story. But Here Comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. It's fabulous. It's just a good time, and it's just a good album. Again, released in 1947.
There's something magical about those older vintage Christmas songs. Like I was talking to Funkle for our holiday episode. He wants to do he's like, oh, let's come up with a playlist of new Christmas songs. I'm like, why, man? Like, put on some Andy Williams, listen to the older stuff, man. That's the stuff that I think of when I think of Christmas.
Yes,
with a side order of Perry Como.
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go.
Yeah, and Sinatra's Christmas album, and gosh, there's just so many songs, and that's why it took a while for me to figure out what I wanted to do. But yeah, in the end, that one went out. So final thoughts for me for this episode. It's been a while. We had some things going on. And it's been a while.
Did you do the same thing, Andy? Did you say it?
Yep, I did.
That's awesome.
I was right.
We're obviously glad to be back. Uncle, we hope you're back soon. In the meantime, Bogan, it's great that you are up to jump in and discuss whatever topic, including D&D, magic numbers, things like that, that ultimately will decide fantasy football championships from now until eternity.
Just saying, it's going to happen. You're welcome in advance. So hopefully you played whoever I said, because I don't know the names. I already forgot them.
I hope you guys have happy holidays out there. Andy, Bogan, Merry Christmas to you guys and everybody out there listening. Those are my final thoughts. Just be good to each other. Bogan, your final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I just want to thank you guys for having me on here, man. I always enjoy chatting with you. It's always fun. I don't know much about football, but I enjoy the time that I get to spend with you guys. Happy holidays to everybody, whatever holiday you guys are celebrating this time of year. And I'm just excited to see what happens. I'm having a good time. That's all I know. Oh, and Culture Dudes, if you're PG-13, just kidding. It's not. It's R. Hard R.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's
Maybe X.
Whoa,
It might be
13-year-old.
We're doing a PG-13 for the first 7 minutes of the podcast. That's the plan. If we could do the first 13 minutes, 7 to 13 minutes. That's the plan.
I was going to say, if you're doing a PG-13, it probably is only 7 minutes.
Probably.
Edited.
Probably. It's not much.
Mom, I was listening to this podcast called Culture Dudes. Listen to what I learned.
Listen to how my vocabulary is more cultured.
Yeah, this is so cultured. You should listen to what he's talking about with farm animals. We're not gonna pass it. Well, anyways, if you've got headphones on, you can check that out. It's a lot of fun. That's your show with Funkle and I. Otherwise, listen to this. It's a lot nicer.
Andy, final thoughts, bud.
Stay off the naughty list and put your shopping carts away.
Boom. There it is.
In the group chat, I don't know who it was, but there's a scientific study behind that. If you did a chance, look it up on TikTok. Was that the video that was sent out? Yep. Wow. It was very detailed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. That's it for us here. Thank you, as always. Make sure to like the show, share it, hit the bell, ding, ding, and tell your friends. We're going to be getting back to the swing of things now that everybody's back. And it's going to be fun. As you can see, we just have a lot of fun talking about whatever's pertinent, sometimes not. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense at all. I want you guys to think about all the gifts in your life, think about your families, your friends, but most importantly, think about Andy not getting the USS flag for Christmas, and just look at his pain. Merry Christmas. Find us on Facebook, Twitter. I'm sorry, X. Sorry, Elon.
X don't give it to you.
Don't give it to you.
What? And that's it, folks. Have a happy holidays.